First half is good, second half is good slow, second half is good, first half is there.
Sometimes, people make fun of me when I say that, but the multiple personality disorder wala feeling.
I still don't think it's horror that works. I think it's the story and the human relationships that work.
There was a younger mind, sharper, thirstier, who could do it far more better and do justice to the scene.
I would like to begin by asking two of you. I've always wondered, not all, but most of the horror films always end up having the central protagonist as a lady who's getting tormented by spirits. Is there a logic? Why are only women sort of as the central protagonist in horror supernatural films? Is there a logic to it?
Yeah, there is. Because, you see, the thing is, can you imagine Shah Rukh Khan of Jawan getting scared of a ghost? You can't. The thing is that the audience experiences fear through the protagonist.
Yeah.
If the protagonist is not getting scared properly, if she's even faking, even if it's a woman, and if she's not getting scared really, the audience doesn't like it. A girl alone feels more vulnerable than a man alone in a house. Not to say that you cannot have sequences of horror, but psychologically and emotionally, you are more scared of a woman being alone. You can't kidnap Ram, you have to kidnap Sita. That is the law of dramaturgy.
Vikram sir, I was reading that I think it was your father who would be DOP on Bhatt films. Is that correct?
That's correct.
From the very first film.
From the very first film?
1974 it was released, 50 years ago.
Wow. How would you describe your equation with him over the years? And do you remember the earliest memory that you have of Bhatt?
Earliest memory of him, I was so small that I don't even remember. I remember some hotel in Nasik where
Yeah, we shot the climax of Manzil Aur Bhi, yes.
Yeah, so I was 4, Pooja was 1. And since then it's been various roles, Mahesh uncle and Bhatt Saab and boss and mentor. And
you call him boss, right?
I remember when you were crossing the kind of huge campus of Bangalore Palace, where we were shooting for a film called Vishwasghat, and going to another section where I was shooting. So he, as a child, and his mother was walking with me because his father had gone earlier to light up the space. And then she told me, "Do you know he imitates you?" I said, "He imitates me?" "Yeah, he imitates you," she said. So I said, "Okay, can you show it to me?" And he started imitating me about how I behave. And so recently, just 2 days ago, he sent me a message saying, "Boss, I seem to have appropriated your body language on the set." I said, "All learning is mimetic learning, That's how we learn. How mummies teach the children how to cook. We are human, the human animal is a monkey." So, and then a way to, when you are very close to somebody, the physical attributes of the other person bleeds into you also.
Yeah.
You soon start looking like each other. That's why they say with passage of time, the husband and wife start looking like each other,
Yeah.
I don't know, one day you start looking like me and I start looking like you, what the hell? There'll be one hell of a film.
That would be another horror story to make.
But I was wondering, can you describe how distinct sort of the directorial styles of both of you are? And was it always the same? And a popular story goes, that at one point you were so involved in directing films in the 90s, you were doing multiple films, that you were so efficient that you would sort of give instructions on phone.
He used to do most of his work. He used to do it. That's how he discovered. See, I was in the mid-90s, the desire to make a movie started withering in me, I said, is this more of the same I want? I back-to-back hits, and I'd seen I had got critical acclaim, I got box office acclaim, and then you have the same nonsense. The first half is good, second half is good, slow, second half is good, first half is there. And you listen to mediocre people sitting down and passing judgments. Do you want this? And why do you want it? I mean, how much more will you make and what more do you want? So the desire started quite withering in me, and that's when that was the wasteland phase of my life. And I used to, and he now looks back and says, "Okay, I know what he used to feel, and I know now what he used to feel then, because at times I feel this, is why I would leave everything to him and go. Because I discovered that I didn't have the need to perform to direct when there was a younger mind, sharper, thirstier, who could do it far more better and do justice to the scene. And he would give it another edge to it, and I used to see it, and I trusted him more. And he did it with a flourish. And that's how he became a director. When I started playing hooky and doing phone direction.
No, but I think
You're referencing Ghulam also, I think, yeah.
No, Ghulam, I just chose to walk away from it and give it to him.
Away, yeah.
And I said, well, I don't think as Aamir that I have, the movies mean so much to me that I would dedicate my entire life to it. It doesn't mean so much to me, I will be lying. And he was quite stunned by my integrity. He says, well, I said, look, there's one person who can give his life to it, and it's Vikram Bhatt. And when I saw the film, I said, I remember saying that on the stage, he has made a better film than I could make. So, I mean, and that is the victory of a master, if there is something called a victory. That he may give the unlit candle his flame, but when the flame becomes a radiant sun, then when he basks in that, that's also his contribution. So today he is that.
Yeah, Vikram, you were about to say something when Vatsap said that you learned from his phone direction and that's how you began the films.
But I mean, of course, I would do the action but when it came to drama, it was always Boss. And I think Boss is someone who can inspire people just by his words, and I am more of a what should I say, a more insular, more introverted person. So I don't talk as much on the set. Boss can, get, he can create a performance out of a non-actor. I would find that hard. But so I think that's his strength. So what I lack, I then make up with a bit of technique and use my camera and my background score and to do that. I think we all have our ways of doing, but I think when it comes to grabbing a scene by the throat and getting the actors to get into the core of it, I think Boss does a job that I still can't do.
When Vikram mentioned right now that how on set he's kind of an introvert and not like Vatsap, this got me thinking, as an actor, can one be an introvert in this industry when so much of it is also sort of projecting out a lot of yourself, networking, meeting? How does this, are you an introvert, and how does that work for you?
I think it is possible. There's a lot of me that world doesn't know, and it is possible, and I actually like it, because I do not want myself to just be, available for people to study and understand. I don't want that. I like that mystery. And also it
Clever
helps
girl.
me. And also it helps me discover a different side or a different perspective each time I go into a different character, because I sometimes, people make fun of me when I say that, but the multiple personality disorder wala feeling, I keep getting it because hota hai, wo dimag mein there are so many ideas and ways of doing things, or पॉजिटिव थिंकिंग और द नेगेटिव थिंकिंग, वो सिर्फ दो नहीं है, बहुत कुछ है. And I like the idea of not letting everyone know what goes inside you, and it helps us.
When I was watching the trailer of Bloody Ishq, it's not a homage, but of course I kept thinking about Raz, because there are the obvious lines which said "Ye Raz hai" and stuff like that. And Raz was such a game changer film back in the day. It also reminded me of the entire era that happened after. Like I think the entire early 2000s, the entire sort of the decade was great. Vishesh Films coming back to back, and it's almost like sort of that filmmaking has sort of died in a way. We don't really see those films anymore.
Well, it was, you see, every film is a byproduct of its time. India was changing, the consumer's taste was changing, and it was Vikram who spearheaded that kind of a thing. And of course, Pooja did also her bit by Jism. Jism was an outstanding film. It had my angst, but it had the style of Pooja Bhatt, and it had great music of M.M. Cream. We discovered
Tamanna she did also.
Tamanna she did. So I think, but there was this low-cost, high-concept, great music was the idiom we stumbled on, and we made sure that we worked with non-stars. We worked with good actors, and we ultimately said, "Chalti to film hi hai na, so let's make a movie," and not queue up outside a star and beg for him, beg him to give you a dates to kind of give you some kind of crumbs, and then you stay alive. But I think that was a phase where we did find self-sufficiency, and but then what happens is the rot sets in. You know what happens is that the so-called non-stars that you have become stars, and then the market comes to you. You think they're coming to you, but they're coming to you to get those stars because you have access to those stars. And then you also succumb to that. That's the kind of pitfall. But I think every decade you reinvent. And I remember 1920 when it became a hit. He said, "Boss, after 10 years I've got a hit." 2013 was the last hit to be made together, which was Raz 3. And then there was a indifferent kind of a phase, and I don't blame him for it. It is me, because I am the mentor, I am the leader, and he never did anything without passing it through my gaze. So I failed, and I told him that create a new idiom of your own, and he just bravely took off with the web series idiom and roughed it out and birthed a new banyan tree here for me to sit down and create the same kind of atmosphere with new people. So I'm loving this phase of my life where there are very bright young people working with me, and he is running the show. But it's a privilege to work with your protege who has outdistanced you and outshone you.
But I was wondering, when you were making Raz, and we can't really talk about Bloody Ishq while going back to the OG horror film, were you ever apprehensive that will this work? Because I think traditionally horror is not a box office friendly genre, or at least wasn't, certainly back then. Were you in doubts that will this land?
I don't think it was the horror that worked, and I still don't think it's horror that works. I think it's the story and the human relationships that work, because you can't be scared of something. You can be scared for someone in a film. You know, you're scared for the protagonist, but if the story doesn't make you care enough for the protagonist, then the film won't work. However horrifying it may be, or however scary it may be, it's not going to work. So I think it all boils down
to what you take away. What is the aftertaste?
That's why I think Avika is so special, and she's so special to Bloody Ishq, because I don't think Bloody Ishq would have been possible without Avika. What she brings to Neha's character, what she does, the way she makes one feel for her and her bewilderment of losing her memory and trying to tide through her circumstances is so heart-wrenching that it gets you and it wants her to survive and get out of the quagmire.
What's up? And it was in 1999 was your, before Sadakta was your last directorial, if I'm not wrong. And you had said back then that like I'm done with the movies, I don't want to do it anymore. You ended up coming to Sadakta. And I think it was also a famous statement that you said, I'll do it if Vishesh Films needs it. And that's the only time I'm going to make a film. Any chances of you getting back to direction? And if at all there's a future with you and Vishesh Films?
1 million of years ago, 2 million years ago, something happened. If you all want to retain that memory of that, that's your privilege, and dissect it and study what happened. This is a new age, this is a new vibrant dawn here. This is the most gratifying phase of my life, where I'm seeing young people come into their own, and nothing can be more gratifying than creating people than making films. I'm in the people creating business, and Vikram is like a true protege, provided me that space, as I said, the banyan tree under which I sit down, and for my own fulfillment, give the people who come to me the courage and the strength to look inwards, to see their own strength. A true teacher doesn't put, he ignites what is there inside. If I see something is there in her, if it's ignited, she will bloom. He has bloomed. And that's how societies survive. And I think this is the most gratifying phase of my life. I said way back in time that I was an extinct volcano. There was once a rumble there in me. I can know so much, I can talk about it so much, I have a huge body of information, but I don't have the thirst to leave my footprints on the sands of time, and that is paramount in the entertainment world. Those who make it have that insatiable thirst to leave their footprints on the sands of time. He has it, she has it. I'm outdated, or has been.
Well, I want to make a correction. he is the banyan tree. Not, we don't, haven't provided any banyan tree. He is the banyan tree under which we sit and under whose shade and guidance we make the films.